Wow, I never expected to be making a season 2 video about The Mandalorian. I mean, we all know, well, after many of you pointed out to me, they haven't made a big deal about it. Jon Favreau has apparently Instagrammed about it. But yes, The Mandalorian season 2 is coming. But I felt that for a show which, for the first 6 episodes, because 7 was really a setup for 8, so worth it. But anyway, for those first 6 episodes, they were really standalone episodes. And the show was surviving for the most part on Baby Yoda gifts. Surviving? I think I actually meant thriving. And we'd accepted that it was less of a genre-y show and more of a Saturday morning cartoon. It was an all-ages show on Disney+. Oh, that's nice. And, you know, we'd come to enjoy it. But as you can see, this is so much better. Because with episode 8, the series finally kicked into high gear, introducing the kind of plot points and burning questions and tapping into the Star Wars mythology that gets fans interested over the long run. This is the kind of content that generates the discussion that makes things, that levels them up, basically. This is what I think anything that wants to be successful today needs to have, and I'm so happy that The Mandalorian finally has it. So with that in mind, here are the top 5 things I'd like to see in The Mandalorian Season 2. It was a bit of a tough list to make because there are so many things that I'd like to see. I want to give honorary mention right now because they couldn't make it to droids. I think that I liked K2SO and Rogue One. I think that the new trilogy has not had great droids. I never got behind BB-8. But IG-11, I think, will go down in droid history. And now that Mando is cool with droids, I hope that he seeks another one out. And I urge you to share your own ideas down below for what you'd like to see in The Mandalorian Season 2. All right, so the first thing I'd like to see is a time jump. Now, this is difficult because considering that Baby Yoda is 50 years old and still a baby, too much time would have to pass for him to age up considerably. I mean, Din Djarin, Mando's real name, which we learned in the season finale, would be dead. So I think even if you did just like a year or so of a jump, and by the way, that would be okay because you could say, hey, it's a big galaxy, so Mando has followed the code and has been legit looking for Baby Yoda's people all this time. I don't know by the way, if I were Mando, I like calling him Mando, I don't know if I would look for Baby Yoda's people. I'd be like, I'm keeping them. And I'm sure that Din being torn about giving up Baby Yoda will be a B storyline in season 2. He was pretty quick to give him up this episode, though. Although now that they're a clan of 2, maybe he'll be less so. He was like, you take Baby Yoda and get out of here. I'm sure Baby Yoda was like, don't you care about me? Stop trying to die. All right, so... But with a year time jump, even though Baby Yoda wouldn't be considerably, or even actually that much older, in terms of his own evolution, the way he ages. But at least maybe he'd be a bit better with the Force, maybe a few words he can say. And then also he and Mando could have developed a bit of a shorthand, even more so than they have now, and really take their relationship to the next level, right? Basically, I'd like them to move ahead a little bit and I'll join them there. All right, so number 2, this is where the show is getting really interesting, and that's Mandalorians versus Jedi. Let's find some Jedi. Oh boy. I would be, because they're not extinct just yet, and it would make me so happy if perhaps Din and Baby Yoda got to visit, or at least get wind of for season 3, Luke's school for the Jedi. Oh, that would be fantastic, Mark Hamill. Come on over here. I'm not sure of the timing, how it lines up, but remember, it wasn't too long before The Force Awakens that Ben Solo had become Kylo Ren, and he and the Knights of Ren had, killed all the other Jedi students at Luke's school. As I said before, Luke's like, maybe I shouldn't be a teacher. And I think he proved that with The Last Jedi. But anyway, maybe that's what happened. Din's like, I'm not leaving him here. This is a horrible school. Let's go. But, maybe the school hasn't started yet. Maybe Baby Yoda gives Luke the idea to start the school. Maybe they just miss it and come upon its smoking ruins. And R2-D2's tracks in the dirt because Luke just left with him. But I'd like to see something, I'd like to see that mentioned here. But I think what's really important here is to remember the Mandalorian Jedi War, which the Armorer alludes to in Episode 8, and also, as she points out, that the Jedi and the Mandalorian aren't sworn enemies and are in fact a lot alike, as both follow a code. And I think it'll be interesting to not only contrast those two cultures, but to see them coexist in Baby Yoda. Oh, that's so exciting. I think that it's unfortunate that Rey couldn't get to this point, but this this is the kind of legacy that we like to see. This is really exciting to tie, again, the Mandalorian and Jedi cultures together. And in some ways, even with his adopted father, Din, who was himself adopted into Mandalorian culture. Oh, it's great. This all folds into itself perfectly. All right, so this leads me to number 3. The Darksaber. Oh, it's so exciting. Now, speaking of Jedi and Mandalorian cultures, the Darksaber is a Jedi weapon, but it was made by the first Mandalorian ever to become a Jedi, and it has become a legendary part of Mandalorian culture, passing through many Mandalorian hands and almost being a witness to Mandalorian history since its creation. And it could once again unite the Mandalorians. For a while, some evil Mandalorians used it who never wore their helmets. Oh, that's how you can tell they're bad. But for a while it was, used for good. Now, some are saying that Din should wield it, right? Mando. But maybe I think this really ultimately belongs to Baby Yoda, as again, he himself is a mix of Jedi. He can tap into the Force, but also he's now an honorary Mandalorian. He's been brought into that group just as Din was. When he was, I love the mirroring of how they were both saved by a Mandalorian. That was beautiful. And so, I think that works perfectly. And, of course, we've all seen Yoda wield a lightsaber when he was in his prime. And so I would think this weapon will eventually become Baby Yoda's. Din can look after it for a while for him and also maybe wield it because it'll take decades for Baby Yoda even to become a tween. So it's gonna be a really long time before he can pick that thing up and use it. Or maybe not. We'll see. I'm also impressed that Dave Filoni, who invented the Darksaber, has gotten into live-action Star Wars. That's very cool. And expect the legacy of the Darksaber to grow exponentially in The Mandalorian Season 2 because Dave Filoni, he cares a lot about that thing because, again, it's his baby. All right, so number 4, Gideon, who was wielding the Darksaber. By the way, I have to say, not only is Giancarlo Esposito now the big bad of The Mandalorian Season 2, but also The Boys Season 2. I mean, his agent teed him up beautifully. This is so great. And I think that Giancarlo Esposito is more than up to the challenge. But what's Gideon up to, right? Why does this former officer of the Empire want? What does he want with a Mandalorian Jedi weapon like the Darksaber? And what does he want with a Force wielder like Baby Yoda? Plus, what's his beef with the Mandalorians? As we now know, he was part of the Great Purge and has taken their legendary weapon as his own. It's personal. All right, so anyway, number 5, finally, as I said, it was tough to narrow this down to just 5. But I had to do it. Those are the rules that I've made, top 5. And I went with Cara Dune, Bounty Hunter. And what the heck, I like Greef Karga again too. While I don't trust him, I still like him. He's a lot of fun. And I like his positive attitude. He's like, we're all friends again. And I'm like, you know what? We are. Life's too short, especially if we continue to fight. But anyway, while Din might be striking out on his own with Baby Yoda on this little side mission to go find Baby Yoda's people, he has created a much better team this time around. Of course, the other one being the one we met in the Bill Burr episode. But I think it's pretty much guaranteed that either he'll need their help again, or they'll realize that he needs their help and they'll go find him, or their paths will simply just cross. But we'll certainly be seeing Cara Dune, and I would suspect Greef Karga again, especially because Jon Favreau created Cara Dune specifically for Gina Carano, and surely has big plans for the character. And with the time jump, even a little one, I'm excited to see how Cara Dune, a loner when we first meet her, takes to being in the Bounty Hunter Guild. I would suspect that with Din on a break, she becomes the best bounty hunter. So I'm excited to see that. She was so cool in the season finale. She was lugging around that giant gun, and she was lugging around Mando in his armor. I was like, geez Louise, Gina Carano is strong. I mean, maybe, it's movie magic to some degree, but to some degree not. She's really tough. So those are the top 5 things I'd like to see in The Mandalorian Season 2. And I applaud the last minute, but very astute and they really made up for lost time, myth building. It's very exciting. And this is something I think that we can all get behind. And we still have the Baby Yoda gifts. We get everything. It's fantastic. So again, share your own thoughts and hopes for Season 2. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.